Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, sim racing fans from wherever you are in the world this very wet and windy evening. Welcome again to Monday Night Racing with MC Motorsports and our Super Formula Light series. Another fantastic event here for you this evening. Very excited to have you all along once again for a night full of thrills and spills as we head to the first of our wet track conditions that these races have seen in the Super Formula Light series for this season. It does promise to be very exciting indeed and will really challenge the drivers far more than they've been up against before in this series. My name is Jared Cole. I will be your lead commentator this evening, and these action-packed events are brought to you, as always, by Simple Racing Broadcasts. My co-commentator Dean Biggles-Hopton will be joining us in just a moment. But let's get underway because the drivers are already out on track, putting in their qualifying times and getting ready for race number one this evening in the Super Formula Light series. We'll be bringing you all the action, of course, right from the first green flag through to the end of the event this evening, with as much in-depth analysis as Biggles and I can pull together, and also replays and live race updates right throughout. So make sure you've got your favourite beverage in your hand. Sit back, relax, and enjoy what is sure to be a very, very exciting evening of racing. Let's take a look at what this evening's race is looking like, and we, of course, are in Germany at Hockenheimring. I'm sure I'm not hocking enough on that one, but we are at Hockenheimring. We're taking on the Grand Prix layout this evening, so the drivers really experiencing the very best of what this track has to offer, at least in layout, if not in weather. 16 turns in all, including some very, very technical turns right off the back of some very fast sections that in dry conditions would absolutely push drivers to the limit. But this evening, of course, we find ourselves with just a bit of rain around. It's not completely pouring down out there, but certainly enough to make sure that we do have a reasonably wet track. The air temp 19 degrees, track temp only barely warmer at 23, and moderately wet track conditions for us to be dealing with. So we'll see how the drivers do handle that this evening, and we will check in on that as we get closer to the race. Before we do get to that point though, let's take a quick look at the championship results and how that is looking. And this is the standings, the top 10 before this evening. Now, bear in mind, this is round 5, the penultimate round of this series. Tonight's event cannot be a drop round, nor can next week. So, for all of these drivers, they will need to put in their best efforts tonight and next week in order to have a chance at taking out the championship. And we see Craig Edwards once again topping the leaderboard, 576 points in place number 1 in their championship standings. Doug Gowan's not far behind, 558. Scott Bartine, 522 in P3, with Greg Bradley nipping at his heels at 511. And then a bit of a gap back to Ryan Palmer in 5th and Darren Fay in 6th. Tristan McLaren and Jake Robiard almost tied there in P7 and P8. Likewise, Andrew Johnston and Lam Newen in P9 and P10. And that is your top 10 for the championship. I do believe I've got Dean Hopton back in the comms booth with Dean. How are you doing this evening?
Hello. I'm here. Doing good, thank you. How are you?
Good to have you here, mate. Yeah, doing very well indeed. Welcome back to another week of open wheel racing here with MC Motorsport. Just talking about the championship results and how we're looking at this point. It's looking pretty tight considering we've just got these 2 rounds to go, isn't it?
Oh, it's crunch time. So this is absolutely where you need to, to start getting the job done. Probably put your foot down on that pedal a little bit harder. But with these tricky conditions as well, you might want to be a little ginger on that one too. But you got to throw everything you have, especially if you're a little bit further down on that championship standings hunt, as you see. So we do have a few of those drivers in there this evening, but we do have a few of them aren't. So possibilities of opportunities, and you never know what can happen with 2 races up ahead.
Yeah, and look, only a reasonably small turnout this week. I think the rain may be scaring a few of the drivers away, and I don't blame them. It's a tricky enough track without the added wet conditions. Worth calling out, Greg Bradley, we haven't actually seen him make his way to the track this evening, so his 4th position may be at risk tonight. What do you reckon?
It could be. It very much could be, because you have drivers that give or take, a dozen points or so behind, and if they can rack up some good points here this evening, that's a lot of work for that man to be able to get it done on the last race of the season. But hey, perhaps something's happened, you can't make it. Not a lot of us can. You were saying before we had one of the drivers as well too had some sort of technical wheel issue as well.
Yeah, Scott Lefebvre did join the session earlier, but he may actually need to retire from the session this evening, so I don't know that we'll actually see him make the grid, having some technical issues with his wheel, unfortunately, so may not be joining us, but thankfully that won't affect the top 10 race, at least from the perspective of him potentially dropping points due to that issue, so breathe a little easier there, Scott. Hopefully you can get that sorted and ready for perhaps our 86 Cup on Thursday night. We'll see you back in the driver's seat there. The drivers just finishing up their qualifying session now, so we've got about 30 seconds left before we jump to the grid and start to take a bit of a look at what might be happening in terms of the pace this evening. But Craig Edwards got it all to do to stay out in front this evening. We haven't seen him in wet conditions, but he has been putting on some pretty impressive showings throughout the rest of the season. What's your call, Biggles? Do you think we'll see the same from him tonight, or is he a dry weather expert only?
So this is what I was just about to ask you, actually, the fact of who's done their homework. You know what I mean? We move into schools, like you do homework and the teacher, and then you go to school and you're like, I forgot. Homework being, in this case, have you done your wet weather practice rehearsals? Have you got out there? Have you done any of this before you've turned up tonight going, oh dear, it's raining. Now I'm going to have to learn how to drive in the wet.
Yeah, look, I'm not quite sure how many of these drivers have actually tried it on at this point. So I guess we'll find out pretty quickly as we get into turn one, I'm sure. Let's take ourselves a look at the grid. So Scott Bartine and Ryan Palmer, would you believe, P2 has qualified right up front there. So impressive showing from the ADHD entry there. Dylan DeBono and Giuliano Sinisi on the second row, with Doug Gowans and Josh Harris just behind them. Then Craig Edwards back in P7, so a little bit of work to do there in this first 20-minute sprint, alongside Tristan McLaren. Scott Pocock and James Bunker rounding out the top 10, with Lee Keldulis and Jake Robiard. And Darren Fay and Hayden Kalman, Nathan Bowman and Brian East not having the best run through qualifying. I don't think they actually recorded a time. And Scott Lefebvre, as we said, unlikely to be a showing this evening, as he has had those issues with his equipment and so will not be able to drive this evening. So that is a shame, but all to play for. And so really, without Scott Lefebvre, only 16 entries this evening. Will be very interesting to see just, I suppose, what difference this might have on the championship. Have a look at that track. It's soaked at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, do you recall which Formula One occasion it was when it turned into a car parking lot down Turn 1 here in Germany?
Ooh, that's testing my memory. I think you've got me on that one, mate.
That's well for the chat, actually, if you're out there, chat. Hello, as well. But yeah, there was a massive, one of the wettest races Formula One ever had, I think.
Yeah, all right. Looks like we're getting into it a little earlier this evening. So here we go. Lights are up already. And we're away. Good to see all of the drivers keeping it together off the line. We haven't had anyone spin. Brian East in the background taking it very, very easy as we head down towards turn one. Let's see if we make it through. It's a big ask, but the driver's being very good. Look at that spray. That is just disgusting. The visibility anywhere other than P1 is going to be completely nil, I suspect.
Yeah, Scotty got an excellent launch. Excellent launch out the right. He doesn't talk about spray at the moment. Further up the right, Ryan got a little delayed launch at the moment, but he's under massive attack from Dylan right now for P2. Dylan's going to try to take a run as you go all the way down into the hairpin turn. So last the late break. It's the first time they're actually going to judge what braking point it will be in these conditions. Yeah,
and how you judge a braking point in conditions like this is beyond me. You can't see anything as we see a big dive up the inside. Is that Tristan McLaren, who's just tried to make some spots there and has managed to make it stick, which is impressive considering how far off the line he is. There is absolutely no dry line anywhere on this track right now, but we see things sorting themselves out front. Dylan DeBono making the effort to get up into P2 there, and Craig Edwards right on his heel, up 4 positions from the start. So yeah, I think that might answer our question about his wet weather skills, mightn't it?
Launch control. Got that one, yeah, exactly. He's got it, and he got past Ryan Palmer and made a little bit of a mistake as well too. Julian's dropped one place, and Doug the grandpa, of course, in the battling, crucial for him in the P2 of the championship. He's settling back in P6, but it's early days, of course, with 1 minute down and a whole bunker. change to go for the rest of this one. Under attack too, Ryan Palmer.
Plenty still to come, and we see Dylan De Bono, the first casualty, a big slide, and look at that wet weather. He just keeps on sliding, and we've got, who else is that off in the back? Is that Scott Pocock?
Julia's around. Jules is around.
All sorts of issues back here in the pack. Let's just take a quick look, try and figure out who's who in the mess that was. But yeah, Senezi's ended up well off the track as well. So Scott Pocock and Dylan De Bono.
And Craig Edwards is around now too. While you look at the replays, he's facing the wrong direction.
Yep.
He's got to stay there patiently too, because he's on the...
he's just a little nudge there as well. Just had a little nudge as I think that might have been Pocock coming past, or perhaps De Bono.
You got the defibrillator ready? Because my heart is pumping at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm sure his is too.
These guys have perhaps gotten a little bit too confident after that clean first lap, and we've seen all sorts. And then we've got, who's that? That's Tristan McLaren off to the side, who's...
Yeah.
Oh, wow. We knew that the wet conditions were going to play a part, but I really was hopeful after that first lap that perhaps we'd get away a little more cleanly. Right now, though,
he's 6 seconds up the road. But yeah.
Well, look, Scott Bartine making the best of it, as we see all the action happening back here in the mid pack. Everyone just trying to sort themselves out. Let's go back and take a quick look and see what's happened to a few of these drivers.
Calm down for a second. Let's choreograph this, okay? No overtaking, no spins until we get these replays done.
Just take a breath for a moment, guys, if we could, please. Let's take a look back. So this is Scott Pocock. Where's he had the issue there?
Oh, there. I think in the entry. Oh no, he's already lost it before that one, hasn't he?
Yeah, right. We'll have to go back and take another look at that later. As we see the rest of the drivers starting to just sort themselves out. The big story, of course, Scott Bartine out in front by almost 8 seconds. Ryan Palmer, after a bit of a wobbly start, let's say, finds himself back up in P2.
And Scotty just sets the fastest lap right now at the field by 3 seconds. I don't think anybody's given him the memo to say at the moment, my friend, it's raining, but he's driving like it's dry.
Absolutely is. But look, we've got a little peak of blue sky coming through here. What a shot that is as the cars make their way through. That's a big slide. Dylan De Bono again. And there's Senesi around again. So these guys, did they remember to put the wet weather tyres on, I wonder? Because those are some big spins from drivers that are ordinarily very, very consistent indeed.
Keep an eye on a close battle at the moment between Hayden and Jake too. Battle for PA7 and P8. And get some switcheroo between them as well too. So
yeah, somewhere in there. It's hard to see, but Jake Robiart is there in the spray behind Hayden Kalman. So he's definitely in amongst it. I tell you what, the vision that we're seeing here is not the greatest tonight, I'm sorry, folks, simply for the amount of spray that these cars are kicking up. There's not a lot we can do about that. It is a very wet round indeed. But everyone's sorting themselves out. Scott Bartine not slowing down, 8.5 seconds out in front, as we do see an investigation underway for that incident, Senesi coming off there. So race control just taking a look back at that from lap 1. As we continue around, Jake Robiart here just starting to lose the gap a little. We'll take a look back. Tristan McLaren may have found himself offline as well. Dylan De Bono is making his way through. But Ryan Palmer up in P2, he's really looking to cement some additional points here tonight, isn't he?
Absolutely. A little bit of a poor start under attack there, dropped back a couple of places, and now he's just fired his way through after these other drivers up the road have made some mistakes. Crucial. So Ryan Palmer keeping it, more importantly, glued to the track. He's got 10-second gap down the road. I think at this point you'd be just thinking hosing in on P2, and they're just hoping if Scotty up the road makes a mistake.
Well, this is Hayden Cullen, big lock up and just slides it into the kitty litter. Oh, that's contact that's going to cause some damage to that front right, I'm sure. Lucky not to spin it around, but I don't think we'll be seeing the fastest times from him after that contact.
Yeah, but that's just the way that the cookie crumbles sometimes. You know, it's still pointing in the right direction, still back on track. Yep. Everybody started to spread out by a second change at the moment too.
And the rest, but here's Ryan Palmer. Doug Gowan's bearing down on him, but these guys now 12 seconds. What is Scott Bartine doing?
Big lock up from Dougie too into the hairpin. big lock up, and he had to save it. He has.
A lot
it's
of
dropped
time.
a little bit of time to lead down the road. Who's gained 7 positions. Keep an eye out for that 18 machine too. Currently,
Duelist making the moves up from P11 through to P4. He's stringing it together, aided, I'm sure, by the accidents. Good to see you in the chat there, Mitch. And yeah, not a bad round to be injured at all. Certainly the night to be nowhere near the track if you're not a fan of driving in the wet. So the battle we have here, this is for P10. Darren Fahey just in front of Hayden Kellman there, and just off the back, Dylan De Bono, who has had a few incidents already, down 9 spots since the start through a couple of spins, unfortunately for him. But, yeah,
another cool one to look at, my friend, is James Bunker, I believe, had started from the pit road, because it's showing here as a pit stop near where he started. Pit stop in this race would be starting from the pit lane. And that, I mean, he's gained 5 positions. Maybe it's not a bad idea starting from pit road and avoiding all that carnage early. Perhaps.
Right now, he's providing a nice little tow to his teammate Josh Harris as the two ADHD entries hammer up the main straight. We're 8 minutes into this 20-minute sprint, and it's happening all over the place tonight. Here comes Hayden Cullen, Dylan De Bono looking to place the move. Now, Dylan De Bono, let's see if he manages to hold together, because he's had a couple of spins here, but he's starting to find his groove finally, it seems. As we see a little further up the track, Lee Duelist has just had an issue as well. Let's go and take a quick look at that.
Yeah, he's gone off the road a little bit. A little venture in the kitty litter. I think it was a kitty litter. Let's have a look. Oh, that's
just a big spin. Yeah. Yep, turn 1, but he's recovered. Oh, that was close.
Yeah, an inch to the left and he would have been collected.
Oh, that was so close. That's James Bunker and Josh Harris racing through the ADHD entries. While we've been watching that, Sinesi's just had another issue and finds himself even further back.
He's gone to pit road. He's just
he's had to tow.
He's lost his front end.
We'll
see if we can get his race engineer actually in here for a bit of a Twitch chat to us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I know he's probably going to be talking to his driver about focusing on race 2, perhaps, and more importantly, critical positions, of course, for the reverse grid.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That incidentally, while we're talking about Mr. Sinesi himself, deemed a race incident on lap 1, so no further action. Scott Bartine setting another fastest lap, a full 4 seconds clear of Ryan Palmer's fastest lap. Bartine just has this wet weather performance nailed, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh no, he's gone, mate. Yeah.
I'm actually wondering how many of these guys he's going to manage to lap in this 20 minutes.
He's just got to be cautious to keep it on the track. Of course, you don't want to throw away a massive lead right now. Just be a calm, cool, collective. I mean, he's dropped off a little bit from setting. Well, he just had a fast lap, so I think he's dropped. Oh, and a spin from Josh, and a synchronized spin, and there's a huge flip upside down.
So that's just Jake Robillard who's upside down there. What's happened?
Yeah, Jake's gone. They all three have synchronized spin. I think one of them collected the other one. That's it. So it was not a collision. That's just...
Let's go back and take a look. What's happened here?
Synchronized spins. Have a look at this. So the first one goes around. Second one goes around behind him.
Then Harris and Robillard just...
And then Harris collects him.
Launches. Absolutely launches.
Harris had nowhere to go and just, bang over. But the teammates, these teammates were following each other.
Oh, that's atrocious. But what do you do? He couldn't get around that in any way.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that's also the problem. To me, that's you are using the other driver as a racing line and not your own racing line, and because of that, that's what you see synchronized mistakes. It happens in real life racing as well, so it's confusing, of course, because you're trying to drive a new racing line, but there's a car in the way, so you've got to give it all credit. It's difficult conditions, and plus he's got a whole bunch of spray in his face too, so what are you going to do about that?
It doesn't help. Doesn't help at all. As you see, De Bono getting up close behind Nathan Bowman here. There's a whole range of racing lines on show tonight. Bowman runs very wide. De Bono couldn't make that stick, and so Bowman just says thank you very much and waltzes back on through into P4. You see this group of 4 starting to become a group of 3.
Oh, it's exciting, isn't it? You got three car battles on the track in 2 different places. A big battle, of course, for P3. Dougie's got a hold on... Oh, not Dougie, sorry. For Borman, as you said. Under massive attack in the main straightaway here. It could be 3 wide.
Side by side, up to turn 1. Now, De Bono. Bowman's got to watch out here because De Bono's had a couple couple of spins here. He's kept it under control nicely. So glad to see them just starting to find that you can almost, if you squint, you can almost see a dry line forming there, can't you?
Yeah, if you get time to look at it. Peacock's gone on the pit road. Jake's gone on the pit road as well. So I think some of these drivers might be electing with 7 minutes of change and go to sit there at the moment and just go, wow.
Yeah, there's
enjoy the race, perhaps.
Not a lot else that you can do with that.
Oh, Dougie's gone. Oh no, he just went wide. Sorry, my apologies. Getting a little bit excited.
Well, getting a little excited. I was starting to worry. It is worth calling out though. Craig Edwards, our current championship leader, all the way back in P11, well behind. As we see Scott Bartine extending his lead out to 18 seconds. The teammates here, Bowman and Keldulis. Nathan Bowman up 10 positions since the start. If he can hold this together, and as long as Keldulis doesn't manage to slide into him, that'll be a fantastic finish for him. We do have the pleasure of the company of Jonathan Monday, one of the race engineers, and I believe supporting Jules this evening. Jonathan, have we got you there?
Oh, hello. Lovely
Good evening, mate. Welcome to
again.
Yeah. Welcome to the broadcast as we see Doug Gowans runs into the.
You bring your umbrella, Jono?
Yeah, I did. I'm dousing myself with water as we speak.
So, what was the plan going into this evening, and how much has that been undone by the first couple of laps?
Well, the plan was to drive a safe race, but obviously that's been completely undone. So, yeah, look, it's the heat race, it's the sprint race. Everyone's getting the jigglies out of their system at the moment, feeling their way around a wet track, and as you rightly seeing on the screen right now, it's not easy to adapt to a changing condition.
Oh,
yeah, and Jules
goes around, sorry.
Well, yeah, as a question to you as well too, as Jules, and we're talking about Jules, of course, who's just come out of pit road. Has he practiced at all in these conditions?
Yeah, actually, we were on a bit earlier doing quite a fair bit of practice, and his lap times were pretty good. So we were down to a 43, and pretty consistently so.
We're just looking at Scotty going around at the moment too, mate. My apologies, as we've seen a few drivers going around.
That's all right. It'll be a regular occurrence, I imagine. Yeah, no, we did quite a fair bit of practice, and he was pretty consistent at that point in time. But I think just being a little bit behind and jumping in, he's probably got the jitters a little bit, not fully settled, and just pushed too hard, as we're seeing Scotty do right now.
And Dylan's actually about pushing a Dougie at the moment, who's crucial for his championship hubs. He's P2 at the moment. He's trying to hold off a flying Dylan DeBono. And as a race engineer, I mean, I'm not sure if you're aware, and anybody out there in the audience that listening to, because Jared, I was mentioning about Jonathan actually does a lot of real race engineering around the world. I mean, around Australia, don't you, mate? And all sorts of cars. You probably give a little rap on yourself about what you've done.
Yeah, I've done a little bit of international stuff, but yeah, no, I've been involved in V8 supercars, Formula 3, GT3, Formula 4. Bit of Formula Fords, and the S5000 program as well. So a little bit of experience going on now, but I love sim racing. It's such an easy to access way for guys to get a taste of motorsport, to get into it. And we see everything from people doing setups to great racing, and even gentlemen like yourself really putting the effort in to present a proper media package for it.
It's you say a little bit of experience. Oh, we see a big moment from Nathan Bowman, and he gets out of the way just barely. Turn one, getting a lot of these drivers very, very loose this evening. So a little bit of experience. How do you find, particularly with iRacing and the fixed setups that we are running in this series, there's not a great deal of adjustment as Lee Keldulis goes around. This track is just causing absolute havoc for our drivers this evening. With fixed setups, there's not an awful lot that you can tweak, is there, to try and give your drivers the advantage?
No, at this point in time, with a fixed setup, the best that they can do really is adjust brake bias, and that'll give the driver the ability to get the car stopped to his personal feel, particularly with the changing conditions out there. Look, fixed setups are great. They provide the closest level of racing. Everyone's got the same set of tools to deal with. And it really gets the talent to come out and shine in these sorts of conditions.
Speaking of your racing driver at the moment, he's tackling side by side, I think, with Jake, and that would be great. That's Julio as a producer, if we can almost go aboard and have that little battle between them, because I was going to give your opinion as an engineer. I've just got the job done, actually. Got the big OC racing flag on the side there. Good battling. That was through 4 and 5, I think it was. But
yeah, he's doing pretty well at the moment. Like I said, he's got a fair bit of speed. He's carrying a bit of damage still. So hopefully he's managing to cope with that okay.
That's right. He lost his front wing.
He did. Earlier. Yeah, we lost the front wing out of the car, and I don't think the front right's doing too good, but maybe that's
Dylan's
just
going to the pit road. That's interesting. Sorry, he must have had some damage. Oh, yeah, Dylan must just... Oh, it's hard to see him. No, Dylan... Is that a drive-through? No. Why would Dylan be boxing right now, Dylan? Oh.
That is a good question. We've just
seen,
is
he looking for a reverse grid scenario here?
He might be. He might be. We've just seen a drive-through penalty issued, though, to Josh Harris from contact on lap 6. So that's going to set him well back in the field. It's a bit of an odd choice to be looking at reverse grid, because it is only the top 10 reverse here. So won't make a great deal of difference for Giuliano this evening.
No, it wasn't Julia. No. Big battle, of course, down the main. That's Nathan up here, 11. Nathan Foreman loves conditions at the moment. He can make a sticker to the hairpin. Here's one for you, Johnny. We were talking about that earlier at the top of the show, the broadcast. You remember what weather race that it was in Formula One? And this track that caused a big pile-up, I think, in one of the turns? I think it was actually the hairpin.
Oh, it's a Nürburgring, it was.
Oh, it's a Nürburgring.
You've got the wrong track, Biggles.
Oh, dear.
And it's a light country, at least.
Jules go around again at the moment. Yeah, the Nürburgring, that was car after car into T1 straight down.
Yeah.
Oh, big news. Sorry, we'll just jump back here. Ryan Palmer's had a big incident. He was out in a hugely, just again, turn 1. Oh, great recovery from him, though. Big slide, doesn't spin it around. He managed to maintain P2. So not bad at all, Mr. Palmer.
So, Jono, is it just a matter of gingerly on the gas when you exit the corners and not locking up the brakes too in your braking points? Just back off everything really when you're wet?
The biggest thing is to not laterally load the car too heavily onto any one corner. So particularly through T1, you see the guys going through. It's starting to move towards the left rear corner, laterally loaded. They're getting onto the painted white lines, trying to gas it up a little bit, and that's where a lot of the guys are spinning. So they're just carrying too much peak corner speed, really. And it seems counterintuitive, but sometimes going a bit slower just helps settle the car down and even out the weight distribution. You really want to be displacing water, and the moment you start to overcome that circular grip on any one of those tyres, it's almost unrecoverable at that point in time.
He knows his stuff too out there, so he's paying attention.
Absolutely.
It seems like rocket science, but there's all these things happening at once, of course, when you're driving these cars. There's a big gang of cars going at the moment too, as we're looking at the big battle for P5, I think, currently at the moment. Yeah.
So P1, this is Scott Bartine out in front, just entered the last lap.
Final lap.
He's out in front with plenty of daylight back to Ryan Palmer, but the big battle, yeah, you're absolutely right. P5, Darren Farley managing to hold off Kalman, Bunker and De Bono at the moment, but they are all very, very close. De Bono puts a move through on James Bunker and makes it stick. Not far to go here. Jono, we might just come back to you in race 2 if you're still around. It'd be great to chat to you. But,
thanks, Jono. I know you're going to get your driver ready for that. So
yeah, we'll do. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Jono Monday there, who is the race engineer for a couple of
drives
here this
off
evening,
into the Hayden, off into the kitty litter.
Yeah, he's just lost it there and just pushing too hard. I tell you what, this race, my list of incidents this evening has just been non-stop. People going off the track all over the place. Somehow though, Scott Bartine, look at him out in front, just super composed. Really interesting to hear Jono talking about, going a little slower and just managing to maintain the performance a little better. Scott Bartine apparently just ignoring that advice altogether as he continues to set lap after lap after lap of incredible pace, just not even close to anyone else. So we'll keep with him as he comes around for a well-deserved win here. Oh, geez, I hope I haven't cursed him to go into the
he's got he's got a 40-something second gap. He could spin 5 times and still win this one. Scotty.
And here he goes. Scott Bartine, the checkered flag, not even remotely close to anyone else that race. A wonderful, wonderful drive. And here comes Ryan Palmer. Oh no, he's had a big slide again. Can he get it going? He's got 10 seconds. So here comes Doug Gowans. I don't think it's going to be enough though. How's the gap though? Just 49 seconds back. Unreal. Scott Bartine.
Yeah, and he wasn't slowing down either. We'll talk to you about that.
Anywhere.
I think he was. Yeah, he's getting his dress rehearsal all over and done with, and I'm gonna wait for the main show on that one. He'll have to do it in a spray of cars behind him too on that reverse grid.
Yeah, speaking of, we've actually got Scott Bartine already in the com box while we're waiting for Ryan Palmer to finish in P2. So, Scott,
hey, Scotty, you got to wait. They're still trying to finish the race now. Go ahead.
No, boys. Can't help it. I love it.
Yeah, clearly, what a drive. Ryan Palmer just crossing the line in P2 now. You're already out of the car and chatting to us. What on earth did you do tonight, and what sort of tyres did you manage to sneak into this event that the other drivers couldn't get hold of? Because you just didn't put a foot wrong anywhere tonight.
I spent a bit of time studying this track with the wet, so I found a nice little line, and just took it nice and easily on the track, and it just happened.
That's a great finish from you there, and just a huge gap out in front. How much time did you spend prepping for this in the wet? I'm curious as to just what it takes to put on a drive like that.
A couple hundred laps.
just a couple hundred.
Just a couple hundred.
Well, geez, it's certainly paid off. And I guess the only question is now: do you feel confident that you can make it through from P10 back into
the spray?
Into the spray. Can you actually make it back through?
That's where the fingers are crossed, legs are crossed, toes are crossed, everything's crossed, man. I just do what I normally do. Just sit there, be calm, and just let it all unfold itself.
We had a race engineer, Jonathan, in here earlier. He was race engineer, one of the other drivers, but he actually does engineer in real life as well. We were talking about how dangerous, but how difficult it is driving these conditions. Like, is it like you are like braking a little earlier, of course, in the corner, and a little bit more ginger on the accelerator when you're exiting? Is that just a common rule of thumb when you're in wet conditions?
Yeah, get on the gas when she's straight. Just let her coast through the corners, and just keep it a steady, very, very light throttle, very light brake, and I got mine back down to about 51.5, so it's mostly rear. Just taking it easy. There's some really nice lines you can get here in the wet line, and once you find that, man, that's where all the time comes in. That's why I just kept my mouth shut this week and kept it to myself and my teammates. And
good idea, mate. Yeah. The
Well,
secret's out now.
Yeah, not
Oh
wrong.
yeah,
not wrong.
they'll see it now when they watch the lap. So
Yeah.
Well, Scott Bartine, a absolute masterclass this evening. Well done on your win in race 1, and looking forward to seeing what you can produce in race 2. We'll let you get back to it and get ready for race 2 in just a few minutes' time.
thanks, boys.
Yeah, that's one for
Bartine,
the chat, isn't it, mate? Like,
Yeah,
I think, would you have your money if you're going to back a racehorse on this one? I think that's going to be the Scott machine, isn't it?
As we take a look at the results from race 1, 54 seconds ahead of P2 there. I can't see us backing anyone else for race 2 at this point, but let's go through the list all the same. Ryan Palmer P2, Doug Gowans P3, then Bowman and Fahey, James Bunker managing a P6 out. Lee Keldulis, despite some issues, still pulls off a P7. Brian East, good to see him up in P8, with Scott Pocock and Hayden Kellman rounding out the top 10 in race 1. And Dylan De Bono, I tell you what, he was quick, I'll give him that, but he certainly pushed the very limits of his grip and found himself just facing the wrong way a few too many times. Ended up back in P11 with Josh Harris, Craig Edwards, Tristan McLaren, Giuliano Sinesi, and Jake Robillard there. Of course, Scott Lefebvre not actually making the start this evening. Only 17 entries if you include Scott, so it's a reasonably quiet grid.
It is. It should be. It's quiet out there in chat too, so make sure you start chatting a little bit if you can. Also, don't forget, please, we're only about 9 subscribers away from cracking that 100 mark, mate. So that'd be a great thing, isn't it?
Around, aren't we?
Yeah, a great thing going into the finale. Obviously, next week, with all the drivers putting on the main show there, 100 subscribers would be fantastic. So hit that subscribe button, please.
Would be
If
nice
you're
to get
enjoying
there
this
if we
fantastic racing.
If we could, absolutely. So we've got a couple minutes, a few drivers still just putting in their practice laps, maybe just trying to find what the hell sort of line Scott Bartine was following through all of those corners.
He's out in the track, so follow him right now, gentlemen.
Yeah, now's the time to
If
just
you can
see
catch
if you
him.
can replicate it. Yeah, but wow, just a just a dominating performance through race 1. Obviously, race 2 a bit longer, 40 minutes this time around, reverse top 10 grid. So that will be a little bit different. Pit strategies might come into play a little, but certainly the drivers could, and I say could, you probably could make it through the full second race without needing a pit stop, given that I don't think anyone's going to be going at full pace in these conditions. What do you reckon, Biggles?
No, it's a good chance of stretching it to the, and that's the thing. That's one thing to probably keep an eye on, like Scotty. To see who's had a little spinner at the moment in practice, just for the fun of it, to see if he can stretch it. I think they're going to want to stretch it as far as they possibly can. You're going to start seeing drivers taking late pit stops. It will be because simply they will not be able to bring it home on gas. So let us know in the chat what you think as well, if that is possible. But we don't know the conditions, do we? Is it going to throw up a little bit? I don't see any rain on the track right now.
No, there's a little bit of blue sky just starting to peek through, so maybe we'll get lucky here as Dylan DeBono sets the fastest lap here in the warm-up session. I'm surprised he's managed to actually put a full lap together in such a short time, but the driver's certainly not wasting any time in getting just a little bit more experience in with the changing track conditions. Let's take a very, very quick look at the conditions and how they've changed. Not a lot changing there. The track temp staying pretty consistent, actually coming down just a little even as the air temp starts to warm up, but that humidity just dropping off. So we might just see the rain starting to ease a little, and maybe even some dry lines coming into play here in race 2 at Hockenheim for the MC Motorsport Super Formula Lights Championship. We are in round 5 of 6, so the penultimate round. Not long to go now, as we do wait for the drivers to make their way back to the grid, and we get ready to go racing again. Race 2 this evening, as we said, a 40-minute race with the reverse top 10 from the first race this evening. We see the drivers just starting to grid up now, and if we wait just a moment for that to all start to happen, we will take a look at the grid for this one. So Hayden Kalman finds himself starting in pole with Scott Pocock right alongside Brian Easton, Lee Keldoulis, followed by James Bunker and Darren Fahey. And Bowman and Gowans, Palmer and Bartine rounding out the top 10 with DeBono and Harris just behind. Craig Edwards and Tristan McLaren still right there with Sinesi and Robiard starting down the back. Lefebvre, look, if he manages to get it up and running, he might be able to jump in, but it looks unlikely at this stage as we get ready to go under starters orders once again here at Hockenheim. Look, it almost looks like a dry line starting to form up there for us. Here we go, our lights are up. And we're away again. Big slide there from Scott Pocock, and loses a couple of positions right out of the bat. That dry line didn't help him at all off the start, unfortunately. As we get underway, turn 1. I'm making it through there without too many issues, and here we go. Nothing but spray still. There was a dry line down the main straight, but nothing here. We see the drivers all starting to bunch up again.
Yeah, Hayden there. Ryan.
Sinesi making a big dive through though and making up a couple of spots. There's Jake Robiard off in the background, so he's just into the wall. That's going to hurt. Hopefully he can get it running again and we can avoid a safety car for just a little while. As we come down to the hairpin, let's see what this has got in store for us. Lee Keldoulis is still hanging on up front.
Yeah, Hayden's the breaking point at this one. Everybody else is going to be channeling their way through.
Big spin. A lot of contact there. It looks like it might have been DeBono that's actually had contact there.
Oh, there's a car flipping upside down as well too. Oof.
Oh, geez, that's a mess. That's a mess. Craig Edwards caught up in that
Scott,
as well. So
Scott is upside down and flipped and completely smashed it.
Oh no, Scott!
That is huge. Yeah, he's got front wing damage. That car needs a lot of work, and that's if any man can come back from nowhere and win this race, he can.
He's going to have to do. Look, on the upside, he's still got a fast trap up his sleeve. Let's see if we can catch that on the replay and see just what the hell happened here. So that first contact, and then
he got and then you'll see a big flip up further around the corner.
Oh,
bang.
Just up and over the ADHD.
Yes.
Oh,
he had nowhere to go. Just no fault to his own, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles when you're at the back of the field.
I tell you what, though, that re-entry, not ideal, and I suspect the stewards will be taking a very, very close look at that. So out of all
heading
of that,
the pit road. Dougie
Yeah,
heading to
there'll
pit road early, which is crucial for his championship hopes, remember, too, because Scotty's probably leading this one right now. Craig Edwards not scoring good points. So this is going to be big between these drivers. Ryan Palmer in pit road as well.
Tell you what, we're all of, 3 minutes, not even that, 2.5 minutes in race 2, and everything has changed. We thought we'd see Scott Bartine just make his way up. As it stands, he's in pits.
And a spin for Brian in
P4.
P4.
Brian East is off into the dirt. He'll hopefully get that going again and recover. But Scott Bartine, he's going to need all of that experience from race 1 to try and make this up now, because he's got a lot of repairs to do. Thankfully, does have the fast repair up his sleeve, so he's in and out of the box in 3.5 seconds and back into it. He'll be chasing these guys down very, very soon.
Oh, he's got it. I think it's realistic for him to get a top 10 if he keep the pace and keep it on track. Considering the amount of spinneroos and incidents that are happening so far, it won't be a problem. Julia, of course, Jules is. Well, we heard from his engineer. He's up 10 places at the moment.
Big slide. Is he going to pull it up before the wall? Oh,
Yep.
Just barely. Barely.
The tractor's waiting for him too, mate. But
he's got very, very lucky there. The wet conditions. I'll tell you what, you just don't pull up like you used to, do you?
No. And huge action at the back there as well. Craig Edwards is on the back there of Tristan McLaren. Not in the Papaya McLaren, but let's see if Craig Edwards could do anything about it on the spray there. It's sunshine here in Germany.
The clouds are starting to clear. There's still rain around, though.
Not not the other track, of course, that I was thinking of. But,
not the Nürburgring, but it's the right country at least. So we're
and who's up? That's Darren off the road.
Darren Fay just off the road as well. So the conditions. Look, it may look sunny, but the conditions still challenging.
And up the road there, challenging, of course. Here comes Jules to take James into. Oh, as somebody runs wide up the road. That's Scott. Scott's running wide. Scott's run wide.
Scott Pocock's just managed to pull that back together, but that's brought him back down the field again. James Bunker looking to the inside. This is dangerous.
And now
these two, because they are.
And now Jules is challenging. Not really changing it though. There's about 4 seconds of changes under pressure there from James as he got past before. James is going to come back at him hard and fast at the moment here in his conditions. You can go off the racing line too, can't you, in the wet? Not a problem.
Yeah, you don't actually want to hit the racing line because it is very slippery where all that rubber is. So, in these sort of conditions, you can find a line just about anywhere. And really what you're looking to do is avoid the puddles more than anything else. As we take a look at this field, just starting to really space out. We've got crashes all over the place. It's it's not looking good. Yeah. We'll just take a quick look back. It looks like Scott Bartine may have had another issue. Let's just check in here. He has, so big spin into turn one. He's gone around twice, almost 3 times. Manages to keep it off the wall just barely. So he's obviously pushing hard to try and make up that time and get back onto...
Oh, Jules runs wide too.
Right off there. We've just caught that as we've come back live. So that's going to cost him a couple of spots as he rejoins.
He's got a big ginger here.
It's all happening. Hayden Calnan just taking the slow and steady approach out in front, continues to extend his lead. A big slide there from Scott Pocock. Just barely missing the front of Lee Caldulis. Tell you what, these conditions absolutely treacherous this evening.
Jules will get a good run out of the exit as well too down the main straight. To go a challenge into turn one. That's going to be very, very interesting between him. Gets the position done. Lead backs off a little bit, so there it is. While Hayden's still up the road there by 4 seconds.
And a huge spin there. Lee Caldulis goes around, so he could have made that work.
He's got to stay. He's got to stay there. He can't move.
He's got to hold. He's lost 4 or 5 spots there, but he had no choice at all. We just caught on the way through there. I don't know if you noticed through turn one, but the puddle on the apex of that corner is just huge. We see one of the ADHD entries in the background. That looks like Ryan Palmer, I think, who's just spun in the background as well. As we see Scott Pocock in the grass again, he is having a shocker. No, Tristan McLaren. Tristan McLaren. I stand corrected. The Everything Simulated guys. Oh, and then up front here, James Bunker running very, very wide as well, just trying to keep it together. We thought the conditions were getting better, but I'm not sure they are at this point.
No, there's still a little bit around the track at the moment. And looking at the forecast, there might be a little bit more rain coming and going at the moment. So expect this for the remainder of this race for now, at least. Even though it looks like it's clear skies, it's not on the track conditions. You still see the spray. Spray means that there's still a lot of puddles and stuff forming on the track, and there is. Drivers are finding this torrential. Dougie has made another mistake further back as well too, and Ryan Palmer. So
it just keeps coming, doesn't it? We've just got drivers going off the track all over the place, and it's actually really impressive to see anyone stringing together a full lap at this point. Because it is the exception, not the rule. Have a look at that track. It is just absolutely covered in standing water everywhere. These guys have got to be really, really careful, because you will very easily, even with the wets on, you'll aquaplane these cars if you hit those.
And Scotty's gone off track a little bit. Yeah, but the thing is too, and Jules is going to make a run to try to get this P2 position back again against James Bunker. He's going to get a good run down into turn 1, and if you can make it stick, that's the thing. It's okay to take an overtake into the corner, but you also got to make it stick out of the exit and scrub a bit of speed, which he has, because he's been ginger on the throttle.
Bunker's back into it again, though. I think.
Yeah, Bunker should fight for it.
Is just. I think he's just losing a bit too much pace. He keeps hitting that big puddle we were just talking about through turn 1, the apex there. Keeps ploughing into it, as we see Hayden Kellner rejoining after having a little off-track excursion of his own. So that slow and steady approach.
Oh, yes!
P1,
he's lost the lead! He's lost the lead like that! James and Jules has passed!
Now he's in amongst the spray, so he's not going to have that nice clear run that he had enjoyed for the first 10 minutes of this race.
Almost. Oh, you got to ride on board with him and have a look at the spray that he's going to have seen these two. 3 battles! Craig Egwood sneaks up to the inside.
Here we go.
This is huge for the championship leader.
Now, this is the onboard with Hayden Kellner. How do you see anything in that? It's not too bad. Just a little bit of a slide there, but have a look at the amount of water that these guys have to navigate. They're just everywhere. This is horrific conditions. I'd be just tapping out. I think I'd just head to the pits.
And not to mention, there's you're getting close to a no Mikey no situation with drivers in battling for the championship points, crucial championship points. Craig Edwards, of course, crucial championship points. Douglas, crucial championship points. Scott Peacock's gone around as well.
So Scotty Pocock having a bit of a shocker as well. But here we see, look, Craig Edwards, after a pretty miserable first race, you've got to say, finds himself back up the top end of the field.
He needs this. He's got to. Especially with Scotty back there in P13 at the moment after winning the first heat.
Now have a look at this spray down the main straight, though. Hayden Kellner can't see a thing until he's right on top of those brake markers. Oh, there's a big spin there. James Bunker goes around, and that'll be him out of this running for the top 3. Hopefully he can get it back underway and get back amongst it, but he's found himself well off the track in the background there. There's Dylan DeBono now, tacked onto the back of Josh Harris. He'll be looking for a way through. DeBono having a bit of a better run this time around. He's up 6 spots since the start. He's just had the
fastest lap too. He's got some clear pace.
Yeah, he's doing all right. So he's learnt from the first race. He's learnt when to back it off as he makes the move up the inside here. Scott Bartine, though, takes that fastest lap straight back off him. So despite the challenges, DeBono's just been given a drive-through penalty for the contact on lap 1. So he's going to have to serve that fairly soon.
So I wonder how much Josh is going to battle with him, knowing that that's going to be the indication, because Josh is right behind him. And he knows, well, I'm going to get this place anyway. But, of course, he's losing pace at the moment to Hayden up the road in P3.
Yeah, absolutely is. And look, I think at this point, Harris is probably just hanging on, as are most of these drivers. There's really not a lot of close battles going on. Everyone just doing their best to battle at weather at this point. So DeBono trying to extend and minimise the impact this drive-through is going to have as he goes around. There it is. So he's heading for the wall. Can he pull it up? He just manages to. Keeps it going in the sand trap. Thankfully, keeping it off the wall, but he's lost that. Josh Harris pulls out in front. Here comes Scott Pocock, who's looking to make a move past as well. DeBono, he's going to have to serve that drive-through.
Yeah, he should serve it now, I think. And while
what else do you do, right?
In the cockpit.
Yeah, just calm it down. He's obviously pushing pretty hard, but he's going to sail on past. He's going to maybe just have a run at it next lap, try and make up some time here. So this is about the closest racing that we have seen tonight in this race. As what is this, P6 with Scott Pocock there in front, followed by James Bunker and Darren Fay. Then a little further back, Keldoulis and McLaren as well, just going at it. But yeah, not wrong in the chat. It is more than a little soggy. This is absolutely torrential at this point. It doesn't look it on the cameras, does it? But we haven't seen anything like a dry line managing to form on the track so far, and we're just over 12 minutes into the race. So by this point, if there was any hope of these guys actually getting a line happening, you'd expect it to have developed by now, and it's just not. It's not coming.
And the gaps aren't that massive, if you really think about it too. Scotty's in the... I mean, Scott, we mentioned in one of the first race. He's in the third sector. Our leader, Jules, has just left the third sector. So they're all in one sector on the track at the moment. 12 minutes and change with this race. So they're not that far really down the road, considering how much time you can easily just lose going off the corner a little bit, running a bit wide and stuff like that. So it'll still be very, very close this race regardless.
I think it's probably a little deceptive what we're seeing here, though, really. Yeah. It's like Scott Pocock here, a couple of seconds behind Dylan Bono just up the road. But then a second to Bunker, a half second back to Fay behind him, a second to Caldulis. But if you look at that top five, Senese's out in front with almost a 4-second lead. As we see, is that De Bono off again? De Bono's off the track again and just trying to pull it up. I tell you what, it's been the story of his night tonight. He spins around trying to get it going.
Yeah, he's a little angry on the loud pedal, and that's just going to get stuck. And it's not a drift car, and the grass is slippery already.
He's going to have to serve that right through now, surely, as he finally gets it moving and
don't do it, Hamilton. You'll be right, man.
Tell you what, just watching him.
A good thing about that too is just calm down, just sit back, relax, and he's banged it straight into the fence as well, into the garage.
So he's he looks like he's actually he's still in the pits there. Okay.
You got to get out there. Get out there. That's crucial for some element of points later on as well, too.
Well, he's still going to have a drive-through to serve. That's not going to be a drive-through. Yeah. That's his pit stop. So I don't know when he's planning on serving that, as we see Darren Fay looking to get a line here on James Bunker. Bit of the over-under there. Let's see if he can do it. Lee Caldulis is getting very loose behind.
This is going to get messy.
There it goes. It really is, and I can't look away. It's this is absolutely the closest battle we have on track at the moment. But everybody else just doing everything they can to stay on track. But yeah, Jules out in front, almost 4 seconds now. As we were saying before, De Bono speared off the track again. Kalman then is another 6 seconds back. Josh Harris another 4 seconds back. Pocock another 6 seconds back. And then you kind of get to this group that we're watching now. So Dylan De Bono has called it a night by the look of things. He has gotten out of the vehicle and doesn't look as though he's planning on getting back in.
Scotty's gone around. Scott
Pocock.
Scott Pocock has gone around for the Red Rocket Racing, and he's lost his rear wing.
Oh no, let's take a look back, see if we can catch that. I might have to go back just a little further.
Big impact, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. If we see him, no traction on the rear end without that rear wing. Let's take another look. And it just looks like he's just locked up that rear end and slid it butt first into the fence. Left
battle
one
for
behind.
P3. Josh Howes is on the back there of Hayden, and Hayden's holding on quite tight. Hayden's just you make that car as wide as possible for the 73.
Oh, that was close. Josh Harris is going to make the move past. Callan just put that foot down a little too heavily, gave it a bit of a wiggle, and that was all the invitation Harris needed.
He was mirror driving.
Absolutely was. So these guys down to the hairpin. Let's see what they've got.
And then behind them is a big gaggle of cars too, so we have all these battles coming at once.
We were just saying they're all spaced out, and all of a sudden everyone's decided, no, we're going to bunch it up. Look at these guys, 3 wide into the hairpin.
Oh, there is no space. There's no gaps really at the end of the day.
There really isn't, is there? We see, again, Bunker, Fay and Caldulis. Tristan McLaren, I reckon, has got the right idea back there in P8. Just sit back and let these three take each other out, because at this rate it won't be long before they do. Oh, the risks that these drivers are taking at the moment, absolutely unreal. Craig Edwards.
Jules has made a mistake massively, and Craig Edwards has taken him.
How Craig Edwards has
that gap that was gone.
Let's have a look back and see what's
happened.
He went
off track big time. He's lost 5 seconds.
He's just slowly but surely.
This is why no gap is safe in this one, apart from the fact if you were Scott before.
Yeah.
in race 1.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how he's managed to lose so much time to Edwards there, because he wasn't off the track for that long. But here we go. Craig Edwards out in front, and Jules is right behind him again. To take a look back, Doug Gowan's making his way past Lee Caldulis, who's had a bit of a spin as well by the look of things. Oh, that's beached.
Oh.
That's
Is
beached.
it blown up too? That's blown up.
No, he's
no,
trying to
no.
get it moving.
Yeah,
but he's
you can't. You get stuck. Yeah.
He's absolutely beached on that corner,
These are
so
so
that
low,
could be
these
enough. Are we going to see a safety car here? Because that is not going. He's desperately trying to get it moving. He just needs someone to give him a little bit of a tap on the way through, doesn't he?
Yeah. No, hopefully not. Some driver. I think he's. I think he's been towed. So
he has gotten the tow back to the pits.
It's not a derby. It's not a wreck fest here. It's like,
I mean, it
give
is
give
tonight,
a little
though,
bit
isn't
of
it?
tap. These cars are fragile, my friend. Just a little tap means you lose your whole front wing.
Well, look, yeah, it does, but so that hasn't stopped a couple of our drivers
Not
from
a NASCAR.
giving it their best into the wall.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
I hope you're having
wow.
fun out there. I hope you're bringing your ponchos and your umbrellas, because this one's going to be a wet race to the end at the moment. We're not even halfway through our race.
No, at this point, it's really just about survival, isn't it? I think the winners will be decided on who actually manages
Netflix,
to have an intact
sign
car.
up right now to the MC Motorsports Drive to Survive series right here, right now, and it's live.
Absolutely. As we see the
And
cars
we won't
making their
curse.
way
Oh, as Hayden spins off the track completely, bins into the fence. Hayden from P4. That's big
Oh.
damage. Lost a real that fender.
Huge, that car's
That
done.
is.
through. That car is done. Let's have a look
Wow.
at what's happened there. Oh, just a
Locked on
big
the
break.
braking.
That's exactly what Scott Pocock's done just a lap before, but Hayden Kellner went, look at this, I can go one better. I'm going to put it in even harder and
He's
faster.
slamming his steering wheel like Sebastian Vettel.
Oh, that car
That
is
lost it in the wet.
done. Wow, huge impact. Huge
Nobody is
impact.
safe. Nobody is safe in these conditions at all.
Out in front, Craig Edwards seems to have the right idea. Scott Bartine
Set
continues
fast
to
lap.
set fast laps, so he's up into P8 now. He's not only recovered his starting spot, but
He's got
actually
traffic
up a
coming to pit
couple.
road too, coming out of down the straight in the Kington turn 1. Oh, it's going to be very difficult. Just at the fastest lap, he's super quick, and he's got 2 cars ahead of him right now that are lapping about a second lap slow. And there's a spin up the road too. Can he get past? Yes, he can.
Oh, nothing to it.
Scott just
Ryan
gained 2
Palmer off
places.
into the grass. But here we go. Scott Bartine, after a bit of a shocker of a start, he's still got 20 minutes up his sleeve, and he's in P7 with not a lot of space to make up.
I'm telling you, you can still win this race. I mean, I
Oh,
would
yeah.
not count him out at all. He's 20.
Well, he finished with a 50-second lead in race 1, and that
Yeah.
was 20 minutes long. He's now, at 20 minutes to go, only 30 seconds from the lead. So there's absolutely
And-
no reason he couldn't finish with a huge margin even.
And he's taking his pit stop. We've got to remember, there's still pit stops for
You're not-
everybody
you're
ahead of him.
absolutely right. He is
The top
leader of
6
the pit stop cars.
Have to take pit stops.
Well, now, to be fair, not a compulsory stop.
Oh,
so
no,
if
no.
in these conditions they've got the fuel to keep going, then they just might get away with it. But how are you going to hold off Scott Bartine, who, despite the earlier issues, is absolutely storming back up the ladder now?
Well, it's going to be up to Craig Edwards and Jules, and up the road there, Craig Edwards and Jules have traffic too. So we were talking about those lap cars starting to appear right now. That's the 15th car of Jake Rebellion.
there.
Rebellion.
Yeah, Jake,
That's it.
P15, so a long way out, so he'll be looking to stay out of the way. Craig Edwards just having
Blinking.
a few connection woes. But look, for the moment, Hayden Kellner in the background, P13 just having another big spin. I tell you what, we're going to end up with some very, very separated high and low finishes here.
Oh, he's moved out of the way completely, thankfully. Good on him.
It's good racecraft.
I don't want to be a part of that party. We're
No,
approaching it to
absolutely
hairpin.
not. This is not the night to try and tack on to the back immediately. Just get out of the way and let him through. Craig Edwards starts to pull away. As Jules in P2 hangs on to just a second, a little over a second gap to Craig Edwards out in front.
Still raining.
Still raining.
lightly.
It's not easing up. The sun is out, but it's continuing to rain. So these conditions not looking like changing for anybody this evening.
Tristan and Scott. Scotty's got in the back of Tristan. So have a look at Scotty. He's got a gaggle of cars currently at the moment. We've got lap traffic. So the man that is quick in conditions we clearly see, and the man that's crucial for him to get some crucial points in this championship, currently in P3 going into this championship. Remember getting the race win in Heat 1, so add a whole gurgle of points to that one. He could dispose of Tristan soon, and Darren's going to be up to P5 in no time, just over halfway through the race.
He's making the move and closing down this gap. We're 18 minutes to go. P7 really just eyeing off P5. He's just got to get past his teammate here, Tristan McLaren. But I doubt, from what we've seen of these guys previously, I doubt it's going to be any team orders at play. But here we go. This group's starting to bunch up. That's James Bunker, P4. So really an opportunity here for Scott Bartine. So Tristan McLaren off into the pits. So that gives Bartine a clean run down the straight.
So is that a
And here
scheduled
comes
pit stop?
Faye.
Because Tristan didn't have any damage.
No, that must be scheduled pit stop.
Yeah.
So I guess that answers the question of whether or not these guys are saving anywhere near enough fuel to make it. It certainly doesn't feel like it.
And Jill's gone for the battle for the lead. And with Craig Edwards, who has been blinking a little bit. Oh, he's blinking again to me. So that will be a little frustrating, of course, for Jill's getting into the overtaking zones, of course, into corners. One thing to overtake on a straight.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Snap of an oversteer.
Jules has managed to hold it together, but that's cost him, so he's going to have to start that run all over again to get back onto the back of Craig Edwards. As we take a look further back, Darren Fay still in behind James Bunker, but Scott Bartine right with them.
Yeah, he's got to be careful here. I think Scotty's playing it safe because he realizes that it's hard conditions. James and Darren are battling up the road. If anybody makes a mistake, Scotty's well aware of that one because he got absolutely hit into the T-bone, wasn't it? Yeah, exactly. So he's a little bit more cautious on this one, realizing I'm too deep into this race to make all those positions back again. So he's going to let them battle and then see if we can get 2 for 1 Scotty special later on.
Here they come, all bunched up nicely as we head towards Main Street. Bit of a wiggle there. Darren Fay getting a little keen under brakes. Again, we get through, we're 3/4 of the way through this lap. A little bit of traffic ahead. These guys managing to just group up here and make some progress. That's
Boxing,
Hayden Calnan.
box. Scott's going in.
So Scott Bartine's going. Interesting.
Again.
Interesting. So perhaps that earlier stop was really just a repair, no fuel, or what he's looking at here.
I'm sure he would have taken gas for that time. He would have taken anyway for the fast repair. You just feel like I'll take some gas at the same time, then go to the end. So he can't go to the end.
Quite possibly. However, let's have a think about this. He knows Bunker and Fay haven't stopped.
Oh, there's contact.
A little bit of contact there. They've managed to keep it going. These guys haven't pitted yet, so Bartine perhaps figuring that if he gets himself some clear air, he's going to be able to put down the sort of times that he was doing in race 1, and that's going to be enough to make up this gap.
He just came out and gaggled the cars too.
Making the move. Is he going to make it stick as we come through the hairpin? Big braking zone coming into this hairpin. Extends even further in the wet. You've really got to start braking early. And
Reminds me of the Canadian hairpin, doesn't it? He had a long straightaways.
Yeah, the layout of this track here at Hockenheim is just absolutely awesome. It'd be a wonderful thing to see in the dry, but I don't know about you, I'm really enjoying the challenge the wet conditions are obviously playing for these drivers.
Yeah, why not? How they earn the paycheck with this one, especially battling so close to the championship. It's not make or break for a lot of drivers. Craig Edwards is in from the lead.
Right, so there's another
this
pit
is
stop
determining
starting.
Everybody's got to take these box.
There's still a few drivers though. So Jules up in front hasn't taken a pit stop. Harris, Fay and Bunker here yet to make their stop as well. So we're watching James Bunker trying desperately to hang on to the back of Darren Fay just ahead in the Kittens Racing entry. Who's now coming up on Hayden Calnan. Now he's back in P13. He'll give him plenty of space. But Darren Fay starting to pull away. And James Bunker just opting to play it a little safe. Probably not a bad idea. These conditions catching everybody out tonight. As we see the Kittens entry getting very loose through turn 1. That massive puddle on the apex hasn't gone anywhere. Take a look back further. Scott Bartine.
Scotty should get the overtake as well too on Dougie, which is massive for the championship. This is huge.
Oh,
if these two come together,
was there contact?
Yep, that was contact, and these two are battling for the championship. Remember, Douglas has a little bit more going into this round on him, and now he's had to yield a little bit and allow Scotty, who's one of his main racing contenders here, to do that. Craig Edwards currently running in P2, but we know he has. Well, Craig has made a pit stop. He's still maintained P2, so. Craig Edwards is looking good for this race win, which he needs at hurls of points, of course, over Scott.
Yeah,
took those points earlier in Heat 1. And of course, this is the last round, the penultimate round before you go into the last round. So this is
this
what's going to
cannot be a
decide if
drop
you're going to have a
round
no
either.
Mikey no moment, isn't it? You don't want to have been 1 point separated them to the last lap.
No,
of
no, absolutely
the
not.
race.
And yeah, look,
Could
I mean,
be,
you
it
think
could be.
about the rounds we've had so far. So rounds 1 through 4, you can drop your worst of those 4 rounds. We
Yeah,
did see
not now,
the
man.
points
This is
total
it.
at the start, pretty much representing exactly how the drivers come into these. But round 5 and 6, there are no drop rounds here. So your best performance tonight is what you're stuck with.
I'm
And,
telling you what, this is what it comes down to, and I've said this before. Drivers, the ones that maybe retire early, of course, in the season, go, I've got no chance of winning the race, whatever. That 1 point could make a huge difference when you're coming into the next round. If it's
Absolutely
that close.
could. Absolutely
1 point.
could. Yeah, and we know
Ask
that
bloody
the,
Lewis
the
Hamilton about it.
championship is
James goes
close.
in.
All right, so let's keep an eye on Scott Bartine here and just see what he picks up. So, Doug Gowan's still just falling off the back. Ryan Palmer just ahead. Somewhere in the spray. There's Scott Bartine emerging from the spray behind. Ryan Palmer, I don't know if he even realises he's there. You wouldn't be able to see him in the mirrors, I'm sure.
And they're interested in the gap to Scott to Craig Edwards. That's the key that I really want to look at for this championship, because Craig is leading this race essentially because we know that Jules has to box and that's going to cost him more than 16 seconds. So, but Craig has been blinking a lot as well too. So I'm crossing my fingers, Craig, that your Fusion or Sim Racing connection holds in, because you deserve the race win because you're racing. But Scotty that's a bit to catch up, isn't it? Like,
Look, it is.
do your
I
math
mean,
on that.
Scott Bartine's still 47 seconds
And Scott's
back.
got to do it in traffic too.
Yeah, and we're down to, 10 minutes?
There you
now,
go.
we were saying.
So Jules is in.
Okay, so Jules is in. This'll allow a bit of catch up, but Scott Bartine's a long
will
way
Scott
back.
get ahead of
as in Ryan
Jules?
Palmer. Surely not.
No.
It's only been about 20 seconds in the lane for anybody,
What
so
about
at
Ryan
best.
Palmer?
No, I don't think so. They're still 30 seconds back from the leaders. It's just
Yeah,
the
Jules
gap
is out.
is a lot.
Jules has got the lead. Jules has got the lead.
He's come out ahead of Craig Edwards somehow.
Yes.
So that's a quick stop.
Wow.
there.
That overcut's paid off big time, as Josh Harris will box for his pit stop. That's it, Josh and Darius. So that's it for the pit stops. Everybody had gone into pit road. Nobody could take it all away. So now we'll see whether or not Ryan Palmer, Scott can actually overtake P3 and P4. That'll be interesting. Where are they currently at the moment? They're in the main straight. They will. Ryan Palmer and Scotty should take P3 and P4. No, Josh
Big
Harris is coming out of the
shake.
pit road
No,
now.
Harris is coming out. So he's going to retain P3 for the moment. Scott Bartine, though,
Just have
all the
short
work to
stops.
do. So here we go. Josh Harris, where we've got on screen right now, 31 seconds back from P1 and P2. Jules and Craig Edwards are a long way up the track. Scott Bartine, with 10 minutes to go, I reckon he doesn't have it in him at this point. It would take a huge incident up front to give Bartine a shot at catching
It's
this.
possible, because the
I mean,
cars
it's
are
entirely
battling.
possible. It's entirely possible, but he's going to have to get past these two ADHD entries now if he wants any shot at it. And he's
He might have
certainly
won.
pushing hard.
No,
Almost did, but just had to slow it down far too much. So Harris and Palmer continue to hold Scott Bartine at bay. Look, P5 is not bad points. You wouldn't be disappointed with that at this stage. But we know he's got more in him.
No, he wants a podium.
Oh, wouldn't you
I
just?
guarantee he's driving for a podium right here.
And all it's going to take is these two very brightly coloured Super Formula Lights vehicles in front of him, and he'll be into P3. So that, for now, is probably the worthy aim for Scott Bartine, sitting off the back of these two teammates in the ADHD liveries. But, look, up front, Jules and Craig Edwards just putting a little bit of space between themselves. And then 30 seconds back, the battle for P3 that we're watching now. These cars are still spread out massively, and passing opportunities few and far between around this track in the best of conditions. As we see, oh, hello.
Yeah, that was...
Okay, that's Ryan Palmer.
Ryan
Ryan Palmer's just gone in.
That's
Okay. Well,
Oh,
that's
did he
one
go in?
down.
He might have gone, and I think he went in earlier. He might have got damage earlier and used fast repair, and that was his early pit stop.
It does look that way. He has used his fast repair, so either way, Scott Bartine will be happy. He's one step closer to a podium finish. So it's all on Josh Harris here to try and hold off the rampaging everything simulated entry.
Who has to navigate some traffic up the road too? Of Jake. So
Yeah,
that'll
Jake
be more
Robillard, look,
interesting.
he's had a few spins, so these guys will need to be careful because I can't
Yeah,
imagine
catch
his
him in the
car's
corner
in
too.
great conditions. Look at the spray though,
Oh.
just
Yeah, here we go.
everywhere. Harris takes
Nice
a
little
defensive
break,
line,
yes.
but
This is dangerous catching a lap car in the corner, but hey, if gap car.
yeah, he's made it fit, but it hasn't ended up with a an extra place up his sleeve, unfortunately.
We could probably have. We're just getting excited at the moment. Let's see if we get this job done. I think Jono may be ready to talk to us as well too. But I'm surprised he is. He must be confident that Jules is going to win this race.
Let's bring him back in.
Yeah.
Jono, welcome back to the commentary booth. How's the race shaping up for you? Obviously, Jules out in front this time around. A little bit of a better story than the first race.
Yeah, we just took 5 minutes and had a couple of deep breaths and a bit of a chat and sent him back out. He's doing really well at the moment.
That's good to see, and he's put a lot of distance now on Craig Edwards. All of a sudden out to 13 seconds. So, bit of breathing room. You expecting a P1 from here?
Yeah, absolutely. I've just told him to keep his eyes up and, take it easy. He knows what he needs to do. He's extending anyway. Craig obviously had a little bit of a spin down the end of the back straight there, but yeah, if he keeps it on track and just drives it as he has been for the last 30 minutes.
Scotty's
he'll
out
be
the
okay.
inside there. Yep, and I'm just going to look at the big battle course because Scotty's got past Josh, which is going to be securing himself a P3, I'd say, at this point later into it. What happened to Jules, mate, a little bit earlier? He went a little bit into the kitty litter for a bit and lost that lead he had earlier in the race.
Yeah, just popped out of the carousel, a little bit too deep in there, and it's one of those corners that can catch you out pretty easily. So into the kitty litter, and at that point, it's just keep your head cool. Don't stand on the accelerator. Don't make any sudden movements of the wheel. Drove it back on, and then we had a good little battle with Craig there, just trading lap times and catching each other a little bit.
So Champagne coming his way very soon. Of course, 14-second gap. No, you're in here at the moment, so I'm pretty sure you're confident he can bring it home. He doesn't need any racing steering anymore, does he? Just
No, it's a bit of a test for him. If I leave him on his own and he can get it from here, then he's doing all right, I reckon.
Jared and I were kind of thinking earlier when you were focusing on your racing driver, like we didn't know if the drivers were requiring a pit stop to go on this one, so they did. Was it just you didn't have enough gas?
It was, barring a massive safety car, it was a certainty. Yeah.
Right. Okay. We didn't know that. That's good.
Yeah.
To know. Well, once we see people coming
10.5 litres.
Ooh, a little twitch on there, and nope, there he goes. So Scotty just gets past somebody else, so he's with a back marker. But Craig Edwards down the road, don't think anything. So guys, just bring it home, mate. Sunday drive through the McDonald's drive-through. Pick me up a Big Mac meal, please, while you're at it too. I don't know.
I'll take a McCrispy for my chicken dinner. Thank you very
There
much.
you go, Jared.
It's a nice choice. It's a
Special
nice choice. Jono, thanks for dropping in. We've got just a little under 5 minutes to run, so we'll let you go and keep in touch with your driver and celebrate, I'm sure, in not too long from now. Thanks again for dropping in this evening and giving us a bit of insight on your world.
No worries at all. Thank you, boys.
Jono Monday there, the race engineer and spotter this evening for Giuliano Sinesi, who sits comfortably out in front as we keep our eyes on Scott Bartine here, trying desperately to close the gap to Craig Edwards. He's still got, though, 20 seconds to make up in 4 minutes. It seems unlikely, doesn't it, Biggles?
Yeah, it's just if a driver makes a mistake at this point. They're pretty spread out. Well, we've seen Nathan Borbin going into pit road late, which is another surprise. So another second round of drivers going to pit road, but maybe because that was an early incidents that we had. Remember, there was about 5 or 6 cars involved in a bit of damage, so perhaps they took their fast repair, went out there, and they had to come back in for. If it is gas, that's a long stretch, you'd have to say, for Nathan Borbin.
Yeah, it very much is. But look, he's not going to play a great deal of difference in this particular finish. Craig Edwards, he's just lost it. He's just lost it. This might be the opportunity.
This is huge. Scotty's on a rampage right now.
What a lucky rejoin there from Craig Edwards as his
Scotty's lost it. Scotty's lost it.
Scotty's backwards.
Scotty's lost it.
Oh no.
He's lost it to Josh Harris, and now Daz is coming around the corner. Yep, he might lose it to Daz at 30 seconds change down the road. Wow, just like that, you thought it's all comfortable, sit down and a Sunday Formula One race.
Bartine was in with a shot to make up some time there on Craig. And he's spun there as well. Bartine's hit the puddle, and that's just aquaplaned him. Oh,
he's got to calm down right now. He can't drop any more places. He's lost it to Ryan. He's lost
down
it to James.
P7
he's got to be cool.
now.
This could be one of those moments, isn't it? That in the championship next week,
this could be pivotal.
One of those moments
this could be pivotal. Absolutely. He was comfortably in P3, but just pushing to catch up to Craig Edwards, and that could be what's undone him here. Oh.
Meanwhile, Jill's just the fastest
Darren
lap as well,
Fay,
too. Not slowing down at lead.
Darren Fay spun it around, so that gives Scott Bartine one spot back at least. But all the work to do to try and make it back up. If you have a look ahead, though, P345 ADHD. 3:45 ahead of him. So with just over 2 minutes left in this 40-minute race, there's a possibility the ADHD boys are going to take out 3 spots consecutively.
Right, and Palmer against James too. Yeah, maybe.
Bunker makes his move here.
Is this team orders now?
I can't imagine it would be.
Ryan's 5th in the championship.
Yeah, look, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So maybe
just trying to
put.
But Josh should let him through.
In there.
Dan, Josh should maybe let him through there.
Josh is a long way up the road though. 10 seconds up the road.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, Ryan Palmer though, if he can walk away with P4, that's certainly going to strengthen his position in this championship as we come around for what must be the last couple of laps here. I'm sure Jules out in front, a really comfortable 20-second lead. And then a further 20-second back from Craig Edwards to Josh Harris here on screen. And then somewhere in the background, if you look carefully, you might just see Ryan Palmer navigating the corner. And James Bunker probably going to play a little bit of interference here as they try and hold off Scott Bartine. But Bartine, wow, that will not be what he was hoping for at all.
If he loses that championship by 2 points or something like that,
mate.
he's going to really regret this lap 21 or something like that he was on or that moment happened.
Hockenheim
hopefully
in
it
the wet.
won't happen that way. But yeah.
Well, as Palmer gets very loose again, that puddle on the inside of turn 1, these drivers just keep hitting it. It's brave, to say the least.
So Craig Edwards is solid P2 in this race. It's looking like that one.
You'd have to think so. You'd have to think at this point the top 3
not a very good performance
on
the first race. Scotty, of course, good performance in the first race, winning it, but P6 now. Could have even Stevens the points levels. I'm not going to do the mathematics on that one, but we can't take it away from Jules.
Not even going to try and take the maths in right now. What I can tell you, though, Craig Edwards is looking like finishing very strong. A P2 will make up for his dismal race 1 performance.
Yeah.
Scott Bartine, look, he'll be disappointed with a P6 here, but after a solid P1 in race 1, here we go, final lap. So Jules is out on the final lap. A huge gap back. This is Craig Edwards in P2, not even on the main straight yet. Again, huge gaps between our front runners.
Don't you go putting the camera on Jules and give him that broadcasting curse.
Look, I'm almost tempted to, but we're gonna keep an eye on Craig Edwards here as he crosses through. And then Josh Harris. Look at how much further back Josh Harris is in P3. This is absolutely unreal. These top 3 nowhere close at all.
It's a sector. It's a sector because we're 145 is a lap and he's 45 seconds down the change.
Sector difference. It really is. And here he goes. Takes the white flag. Final lap. As long as these guys can hold it together, you can't see anyone else making up the sort of distances that are involved between these top 3. Jules is out halfway through his lap. So not far to go, and he'll be claiming the race win here. He's actually putting in a pretty good run as we see. Is that Lee Caldulis? No. Lee Caldulis in the background? Yeah, he's just had a bit of a spin trying to get out of the way of Jules here. But, just a nice consistent second race, and he's going to end up with a comfy little number of points for himself. Still the track, still wet, still puddles everywhere. As he runs wide into the kitty litter, I mean, he's still got 17 seconds up his sleeve, so no great rush for him as long as he stays calm here. I was just hoping he wasn't going to get hung up on the curb and end up stuck and just watch his win waltz away in front of him. But here we go. Jules Sanese comes around the final turn. He'll take the checkered flag. And what a drive for him. He's got to be careful not to spin the car here. But there it is, race 2, your winner, Giuliano Sinise. And here comes Craig Edwards, finally making his way onto the home straight. And he will take P2 and some valuable championship points as we look to the next round, final round of the Super Formula Lights Championship Series. And Josh Harris somehow has just gifted himself a nice little podium finish.
And 9 positions gained as well too for the 989 machine. There it is.
Yeah, it's a bloody good drive from him. He's just been consistent the whole way through. Hasn't made a lot of noise, but there you go, a P3 for ADHD. And in the background, Ryan Palmer coming around.
Another sector.
He'll be looking for P4. And then not far behind him, James Bunker. That is 3, 4, 5 for the ADHD entries. Scott Bartine, meanwhile, has at this point just said, look, I'll take P6, this will do. Darren Fahey, though, has been fighting to catch on the back of him, and there it is, a P6 for Scott Bartine. Not what he would have hoped for, but still a very, very solid evening of racing for him. And a good set of results that he'll be taking. Could have been a podium. Look, it could have been. It absolutely could have been. That's racing, though, isn't it? You get a bit of wet weather, and it can all come undone very, very easily. So we see Jules just making the way back around to the pits on his cool down lap. So let's take a look at the results then from race number 2. And Sinise out in front takes P1 over Craig Edwards quite comfortably in the end, although not as comfortably as the first race win that we saw from Scott Bartine. Josh Harris, Ryan Palmer and James Bunker very, very happy to finish 3, 4 and 5 there, with Scott Bartine coming in 6th, just ahead of Darren Fahey, and then Doug Gowans in P8. How's this though? Only the top 8 finishing on the lead lap. Nathan Bowman and Tristan McLaren rounding out the top 10, but both of them a lap back. Just a phenomenal, just a mess, honestly, in the wet here.
This reminds me of 80s Formula 1. Cars, turbo era.
Calnan, Pocock and Keldoulis, the only other finishers on that lap, with Brian East coming in 2 laps behind, Jake Robiard 3 laps back, Dylan DeBono in P16 pulling out early, and then Scott Lefebvre, of course, not starting with issues with his equipment, continuing unfortunately for him. So I tell you what, a bit of water on the track and we get a very, very different race to watch, don't we, Biggles?
We do. We've had like the sweat of Singapore or something like that as well too. It's just the heat is on, and the heat with sweat and water more than anything, and gets the driver. So it goes to show you the skills and the concentration it takes for wet weather racing as compared to dry weather racing.
Yeah, something
it catches everybody out. All the drivers this evening, the best of the drivers, even after the sprint race, isn't it?
With Scott, and you really couldn't. You couldn't pick who it was going to affect next as we welcome Juliano Sinise into the commentary booth. Jules, you with us there, mate? What a win for you!
Yeah, I'm here. Oh man, I don't think I have any words to describe that, to be honest.
That from the commentary booth, that race, we thought race 1 was I don't know if exciting's quite the right word, but it was definitely something. Race 2 though delivered even more. How on earth did you find yourself back in P1?
That's an excellent question. All I know is pardon?
Oh, just I can't believe you made your way back up there.
Yeah, sorry, no, because I've got the what do you call it, the iRacing, so I thought they were talking to me for a second. Sorry. Yeah, no, it's literally I was literally just hunting down for any free space, and I think I just managed to avoid everything. And yeah, honestly, I knew I had the pace. Like I knew I was around where Scott Bartine should have been. So I was around the same pace he had, but that first race, whatever I was doing, it just wasn't working. And then I think I had the jitters too. That didn't help either. But yeah, I think whatever I did, I just said, no, I'm not doing that again. So race 2, I just did something. I kind of just backed it off a little bit and settled down a little bit, and away I went.
Look, can't argue at all. And we were getting a couple of words in with your race engineer throughout. Did say he needed to just get you to calm down a bit. It seems to have paid dividends. You want more wet tracks in future after that sort of outcome?
I mean, I'm all for it. I definitely like racing in the rain. Definitely all for it. Dry, I love the dry too. So either way, I'm happy. Like my engineer John said, without him calming me down, this definitely wouldn't have been possible. But basically, I don't really know how to describe it. I just got to practice really, because I still make silly errors like you saw in the last lap. If I'm backing off too much, I make silly errors. If I'm pushing too hard, I make silly errors. So there's still a fine line that I still got to find. But honestly, I had a great battle with Craig, and Craig, when I lost it to him, and he was pushing me all the way, even when he was behind me. So no, Craig, well done, man. If you're there listening in P2, you definitely pushed me all the way.
Well,
Hey, he was
fantastic drive.
P2 in the championship as well too. So, but yeah. But Jules, I expected nothing less of your great driving. Good job, mate. P1.
Thank you. I'll definitely soak that one in. It's good to get to shake the monkey off the back, really. So it's definitely a
I
good
was sitting there
thing.
going, Jules, what do you got? Turn the contraction control on. You're like, oh, I'll turn the contraction control on, and then bang, in race 2, you got the job done. You did get the kitty litter a couple of times, but hey, you still finished in P1 with a quite bit of a gap too. 13 seconds to change, I think, down the road from Craig. So good job.
I think this race was just who made the least amount of mistakes whilst also going fast. So I think that's just what it came down to, and I think I just made one less mistake than Craig did. Otherwise, if I had made the same mistakes, or if I made one more mistake than him, then he would have been with me all the way, or if not in front of me. So I think it's really just came down to.
Look, a fantastic result. We will let you go and celebrate, but Jules, well done. Taking P1 in these sort of conditions is no mean feat. So do go and celebrate, and looking forward to seeing how this plays out in the championship points when all gets calculated in the next couple of days. Congrats again.
Thank you, and thanks guys for having me, and everyone who raced today. So thanks everyone. You always make it a good fun time.
Good to hear, mate. And that's Jules Sinisi, our winner tonight in race number 2. Mate, I tell you what, the second race there has just done my head in for this evening. I don't know about you, but I don't even have words to describe what we've just watched.
Well, we saw, the best of drivers making some errors. I mean, I think Jill sums up, didn't he? He was like, it was a numbers game. The drivers that did the best results here this evening were on the top of the timesheets, are the ones that made the least amount of mistakes. Everybody made a mistake.
Yeah, there was
who made the least amount of mistakes were the ones that end up finishing in the highest spots. That's really what it come down to. So, and then speaking of which, we can probably find out from the other drivers as well too, as to their opinion of that, or recognition of that statement.
I did want to just grab a couple of other drivers into the commentary box here. Oh my goodness. It's
Aussie
well, never
Ryan
gonna. You got to sing it
Palmer
now.
and
You
Josh
have to sing it.
I'm not singing a thing. We've got to talk to these guys about their bloody soundboard entries, because that scares the crap out of me every time. The ADHD boys here with us, Josh and Ryan, 3-4-5 for ADHD in race 2. How are you guys feeling after that?
Yeah, look, pretty stoked. Pretty cool result for all of us, and to get to finish up like that. From my perspective, a pretty lucky race. There was a couple of people taken out on lap 1, and then Scotty Bartine, who's probably the fastest person on earth in these things, just got in front of me towards the end and then spun. So I had a really lucky race, but kept my nose clean and thoroughly enjoyed it, and made all the better by having the other 2 lads behind me.
Nicely done. Now, Ryan, we've got to ask, was there a little bit of team orders going on there with getting past James Bunker towards the end of that race, or was that simply good timing on your part?
I prefer not to speak. If I speak, I'm in big trouble.
Oh, just say, no, papaya orders.
No, it was, he knew I was quicker. I was just trying to, make my way back through after I got a bit tangled in that lap 1 incident there at the hairpin. A bit unfortunate, wet track and off tracks and stuff, but I was lapping pretty quick. I was just trying to hunt down Josh, but no, solid race by Josh. That P3 there, and yeah, unlucky for Scotty. He was rapid all night. I was just trying to keep my nose clean. Got a P2 and then got a P4. So hopefully that gives me the round win. But no, same to James as well. He did a good race, and I appreciate the boys. They did a solid job, and hope that looked good on the stream at the end there when we were all.
Oh, we're not
Linus.
broadcasting. Sorry. No kidding, Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah, there is no record of your P3, P4, P5. I'm sorry, it's
Your car was covered in spray.
no. Well done, gents, and thanks again for giving us one hell of a show this evening. Look, good to see the brightest liveries on track finishing in 3, 4, 5. You guys go and enjoy that, and yeah, we're very interested to see what it means for the championship standings once everything is calculated out. Thanks for dropping in. Pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you, lads.
I
Have a
appreciate
great
it.
night.
Thanks, boys.
So a couple of our friends from the ADHD racing team there. Biggles, that'll have to be about do us for this evening. I don't think I can take much more of this. How about you?
The drivers were fantastic. Thanks for drivers having some. We had a little fun, of course, in the comms box. They did a fantastic job. They deserved it, and that's definitely going to be some number crunching going into this championship, isn't it? Craig Edwards could be picking up some late points there. Douglas, unfortunately, that's going to be one to calculate. He didn't have two good races, unfortunately. Dougie finished in P8 in this one. Can't verify where he finished in the first heat race, but he's still got a good chance to belly it out there because we're second in the championship going into this one. Scott, we know, as everybody said, God of this track in the wet conditions. Greg, yeah. Ryan Palmer, of course, as we said too, did a fantastic job overall as well. So there's a lot to look at here, my friend. But yeah, they're the gladiators. They're the ones who get the ponchos out there and race around these conditions and keep it on the track and somehow finish the race. Brilliant job.
Yeah, just a monumental effort from all the drivers just to keep it on track there. Now, we look ahead, one round to go here in Super Formula Lights next week. Don't miss it, Monday night, same time. We are heading to Circuit Zandvoort for the final race of the season. A couple of these drivers will have it all to play for. I imagine our championships points will be looking very, very close indeed, but can't wait to bring you that. Any final words from you, Biggles, before we call it an evening here on Simple Racing Broadcasts?
Let's go Dutch.
Let's go Dutch. Can't wait for it, mate. Always a pleasure to have you along in the commentary booth, of course. And for all of you watching at home, thanks again, of course, for tuning in with us here. The 5th round of the MC Motorsport Super Formula Lights. It's been an absolute blast, and we will say goodbye to Hockenheim as we look to the final round and crowning our first ever Super Formula Lights champion with MC Motorsport. Until then, do look after yourselves, drive safe, and we can't wait to see you very, very soon. Goodbye for now.